You are watching and listening to the Keymama Show on African Caribbean Radio Television, ACR TV.
Relax tonight and listen to the special guest we have in the house. You'll be surprised what he really has under his sleeve, and he's going to share with us. I don't want to say anything, ahead of time. I want everything to come from the man himself. Welcome to ACR TV, Mr. Clyde Williams.
Thank you for having me here. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and to talk to your audience.
Okay. And welcome, Mr. Cephas Heyman.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay. You are on ACR TV, African Caribbean and TV show. We serve the African community and even beyond that. So if you're here tonight, just feel comfortable, and we're going to have a great conversation about our community. Mr. Clyde, can you please tell us about yourself?
I'm more than happy to do so. I am a person who is running for Congress here in the 13th Congressional District in the great state of New York. I've had the opportunity over the years to do some incredible things working for former President Clinton. I worked for 4.5 years as his domestic policy advisor when he moved here to Harlem. Prior to that, I worked as Deputy Chief of Staff at the U.S. Department of Agriculture for also President Clinton, where I worked on the food stamp program, the WIC program, and also on the National School Lunch Programs that feeds more people every single day than any other program in America. And I had the opportunity also to work with the Foreign Agriculture Service and work on programs that were important to other countries around the world, including the continent of Africa.
Okay. Mr. Cephas Heyman, can you break it down in the Akan language for us a little bit, for those of our viewers who doesn't really get it all together?
Okay, that's it, Keymama. Mr. Clyde, at congressional, the 13th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Congressional debate, no, now, but say a to Obama, no, now, obe udi New York City and him. Inti Ninyuma kakra waye no. And I know the two jano. Say, maybe I be seen twem no ne or my penny dada will twem ye Bill Clinton or then ye Juma. And I think so, Omano agriculture
As Deputy Chief of Staff.
Deputy Chief of Staff of Agriculture. Inti me bonnet tofa na a Juma kakra meet me akase why no.
Okay. A lot of people might not even know your face in terms of knowing your name and
right.
what you're about to do.
Right.
Why do you decided to run?
Well, let me say this also. I also worked for President Obama. He appointed me to be the national political director of the Democratic National Committee. And one thing I saw up close and personal from President Clinton and President Obama, that public policy has the ability to change people's lives. And I want to run for Congress because I want to do what I believe is in the best interest of my community. Mm-hmm. And my community includes everyone, whether they're part of the diaspora from Africa, whether they've been here for a long time as African Americans in Harlem, Latinos, or those from the Caribbean. We are a very diverse community, and we need somebody, I believe, that can represent all the various interests of everyone and bring the community together.
The Okan BM say, I think so, ya Jumama President Obama. And or her President Clinton ni Obama. Omuna as omu nipa ho adoye. And New York on see a baby Sebio amanfrafo, yeah, if Africa, Spanish ne Caribbean munina waha. Into ono so hwane ho a oyobia obetimi aboa onye obia Sebio oba obeyi yim said ye bi mu abeye kono. Ono wa na je so oba abeka ekro ni nyina abom.
Okay. The next question is that many of the African in New York City have made Harlem and the Bronx their home. Mm-hmm. What is your attitude towards how this community is changing?
I think it's a great thing that you have people from various parts of Africa, particularly from Ghana and from Senegal, who have become a part of our community. They have made our community richer. They have made people more aware of things that are important to the entire diaspora of the continent of Africa with them being there. They also have provided jobs and opportunities for other people. The thing that's great about a lot of the people you see moving here from all over the world, but particularly from Ghana and from parts of Senegal, they become entrepreneurs who care very much about our community, but also provide jobs for people in our community, which I think is a very important thing.
The also kind of say, you see, I said you busa so here Harlem ne, Bronx busa said you no betimi ayabwa. No, so you see, I will hear more. A baby mine a back room hana titru Ghana mine any Senegal for no or more bois community ne pa who nyuma ye momusu be nyuma said ye beya a month for nye biaye. In a sebio almost obia a bonny homodin, sebi nyuma no ma be no more miama ye Ghana for an as a Senegal for kwa woma bia sebi bi muntu afa timamu for mu ya America for kra ye juma. Inti na asem ne say ohwemu ayenso yenso ye bae no Ghana any Senegal titru no yenso ya peja Africa Franca no pa bi my Franca no ma sabio ebu aye wo ma Africa ewo ekrom we mu no e fa gina Ghana enso ni Senegal for modern mo a omo boss to community mu.
It falls on the answer that you gave me. The African community, what are some of your objectives or goals to make sure that they achieve the prosperity in the community? Because most of them are really like struggling.
Yep.
I'm part of it. I don't know about others, but it's like from hand to mouth, we can't afford to miss a paycheck. Yeah. What will you do different?
Well, I think that is something that you see a lot of people struggling with, not just people from Africa who are here in Harlem and the Bronx. If you look at New York, over the last decade, rents have gone up 90% in Harlem. They've gone up 60% in the Bronx and 75% throughout New York City in a 10-year period, while wages have only increased 2 to 3%. If that continues to happen, there is no way that the people who live in our communities today will be a part of our communities in the future. And so the most important thing we need to work on is affordable housing. The other thing that I see far too often that bothers me is when you see entrepreneurs who are of African descent, Caribbean descent, of Dominican descent, Puerto Rican descent. A lot of them are having a hard time getting access to capital in order to grow their businesses. And I think that is something we need to change and something we need to work towards. And I think I have some good ideas that I'd love to come back and share with you about that once I talk to a few people about how it is that we can do something to make this situation better for everyone.
Okay, so you have plans to give the African community, once you are elected, you have some changes that you can make to help them break through that chain.
Well, let me say this. I want to do things whether I'm elected or not. I see this community as one. And if we are serious about being one whole community, we need to help people regardless whether we're in public office or not. I mean, one of the things I like to do is go and talk to a few people I know who may be able to come into the African community and sit down and talk to them about how they can get more access to capital in order to grow their businesses. I want to go sit down and talk to some people I know who run banks and see if they'd be willing to come down and sit and talk to people about how it is they can grow their businesses. Because if you grow your business, that means you can employ more people in our community, and it means you help the community grow overall. And you particularly help the African-American community grow as part of our district. But I think it's important that we all understand we're in this together.
Asama osan kabiem said you see busano no. Na akoye se sika sam ho aye den ama ye nyina said you wa sika se ja ye nyina no ye adwuma ye gi sika na na ekọ ye de akoto aduane ya mfa anto ne de tuetu e ho ne ma na de no boye. E na opa kire se si a wohwe mu a em se abibiman no bonde mo aye bo wa ha no. Sometimes the akoye say ukoba bi kura ekopeska akobie wadwuma mu a ya na den se no ne ade a esi na ni so say obebo modern say na mo no so nkrofo a wonini mu no obefre o mu nyina asa mumra kwan enso ye befa so abo abibiman na ase ye beboa this community because omo so ka ho ne kuro ya chechire pa nti ono so nam sa kwan ne so the amanfo beba emre biemu a ye be nyame ya adoma ye besan ba no o de amanfo bedi na chi ono so beba be chirechim said ye be ya amanfo so betimi akobanga ukobobosia ade atre wadwuma mu a enya ade a akoye se bio eye huma o se hakra mi koye bia o behwe me ho mo mame na emum no no so be kire ade ne nkrofo beba o mo ni mo mo ebeba abɛkyerɛkyerɛ nsɛm ama yɛn nso yɛhu sɛ yɛn nso yɛwɔ kwanya sɛ yɛn nso yɛtumi kɔbɔ bosia ɛde trɛtrɛ yɛn nnwuma mu ɛwɔ kurom ha.
But one other thing I'd also like to add to that is that I think it's important that whoever represents this community, they need to figure out how it is they make certain that people who are part of the African diaspora who are here, how does they get more engaged and more involved in the political process? A perfect example of that to me was Afia, who ran for district leader, who lives in Harlem, who has become a good friend of mine. When she ran for office, there were so many people who were trying to use the fact that she's from Ghana against her. I'm talking about black people. And I thought that was wrong. And I think it's important that we make people understand that there's space and there's opportunity for all of us to do well, again, as we work together. And she's a perfect example of the kind of person that we need to be promoting and pushing to get involved in public policy, to hold public office, because she's concerned about the greater good of our community, not just because she's from Ghana and she wants to work for those from Ghana. She wants to work for everyone.
Madeɛ baako bi ma na ɔsaka sɛ ɛmfa ho ne deɛ obɛnya akonnwa no na adeɛ titiriw paa ɛha no nso ne sɛ yɛ bibifoɔ no yɛn nso yɛmfa yɛn ho nwura amanyɔsɛm wɔ kurom ha ɛboaboa yɛ paa na ɔma mfa to bi sɛ obi te sɛ Afia Gyewa ɔyɛ obi a ɛnyɛ sɛ bi ofiri Ghana nti na ɔkasa watu ne ho akyɛ atu ho akyɛ honhom wɔ ne mu a wayɛ n'adwo sɛ ɔde bɛboa ɔman no nyinaa ɛmfa ho ne baabi a wofiri nti na ɔno nso afutu ɔde ma yɛn ne sɛ anaasɛ obi a ɔbɛba bɛdi akonnwa ne sɛ ɔmmoa no Africafoɔ no abibifoɔ no nyinaa yɛn nso yɛmfa yɛn ho nyim because ɛsi adeɛ aha yɛ kurom yɛnya nkɔ yɛ kurom seesei nti since a yɛte kurom ha yɛ nso aha yɛ kurom no deɛ biribi a ɛkɔ so ɔsɛ yɛn nso yɛde yɛn ho gyim na yɛyɛ na yɛn nyinaa ɛkɔ so na ɛkɔ tɔɔten so ma yɛn nyinaa.
But Tuebolo Nyebo Keymama ye ama ACR TV, African Caribbean and Radio. Nani wa wie keteke ba ni wa nyemi nu sefas wie ye kan wie mo mi ni wa papa hu wie wa papa Clyde wie ye blofo ami e shishiji ake lene ba na alo e domoshi as Congress mani keji afon shiki aha legio afo aha legio le efo eke he fon shia ke shi eta ne wa community e ja ke komo obaya no chumo ta fla che ke apebo oya no chumo one day ni o paycheck shepe be no ba na landlord do moshini e fabu agbene hu wo Africa bi e pie sani wo ke wo he abote mani bi ami je wo ba aka ke o mi imba brochi alo imba America ni ma tuni ni mata oshika ni nke ahia wo fe wo ba ni wo ye mi ele wo ye mi e wo ko ye mi no nu na afe no ko esani okọ he awomi e wo mene Mr. Clyde ne ke wo ye ohia ne je no ko he wo ni eba ta fla che e ba nye te ahia ni edwen shi e fo e ha wo me digin ni wo ba ni wo yo bronze ne alo wo yo Harlem alo America ne efe ke hani keje nagbe ne te White House se e ba nye ka ke constituency alo community ni njemi I may need the housing, I may need the schools, I may need the nuchumo, positions mokoni ba nye ewie ha wo Africa mambiye no ha mene Mr. Clyde eba Keymama show ye ACR TV ni wo yo bronze ne e wo ba channel echo. I just changed the dialect. I see you looking at me like I have two heads. Okay, because we wanted everybody to really get the message clear.
Right.
This is not a joke.
No.
We are in and we are in together. Whether you or whoever comes to power have to support the African community.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue. How do you feel about the immigration system in the United States? Do you think that it is working? What will you change about it if you are elected?
I think our immigration system needs to be updated. We have a lot of things that we're very much concerned about, and we should be, in reference to security in our country. But we should not use that as a means to discriminate against people, which is what you see people are doing with Syria. You look at, unfortunately, what happened in California yesterday. There's also domestic terrorism, so we need to stop thinking that just immigration is the problem bringing people in when we already have people here who are willing to harm us? One of the other things I think that is important, which I think would be extremely important to people throughout the continent of Africa, I believe that we need to continue to have the lottery visas, the diversity visas that allow a lot of people from the continent of Africa to come here. I think is important. So I think we need to look at how it is we improve our economic system overall, because the immigration has a direct impact on our economic system. To give you a perfect example, the people who invented Google, the people who invented Yahoo and other companies, they were immigrants that came here. People who invented Google, they were immigrants who came here. They have now brought billions of dollars to our economy. They've created thousands of jobs for our community. And I believe there are other people out there also from Africa, from the Caribbean, and other places around the world, just like that, who have great ideas that need the opportunity to grow those ideas in a real way here in America.
I'm say Obusano, if immigration, no, say, Anima be brew, I'm say, or see, yes, some as far as immigration, no, said ye city, no. A choir, ye faso gini pa bahai, ebi cra nipa no cra oba no crano, why and host rabo for so na jatapa no oba. Nti yense sansa anya mananyam na afen so oma emfatu we fa say sisi ade to Syria fo ni ade a ye beji oma be do say yes ye ji omo de na mum o se ye mu nsesaye na afen so sisi atimamufo no kra san da ne ye hotamfo a ye kunkum omo ete say de si wo Boston, right? Ye see no so kan ho asem na afen so no ka bibi say uhwemu a ye frɛ bibi nya sɛ bibi man ko ewiase afana nyina, even the ode Yahoo any Google ba krom ha kra no omo free ha enso sesi ama sesi a ekrom ha no omo ma adwuma pem aba ha ama adwuma amafo anya adwuma ye enam omo so nti no niema bebre koso a sɛbi owuti ofie kra na ofa o computer unim de koso owiase nyina enso sankrofo e na omo free krom ha nti ono se green card no ne sa other no niama keka wetima ekrom ha ama atima wese abibifo ba ha no eyese ye ne sa but e wosi ehyemu kena said ye be ya ye ginipa ba krom ha no na omo so mama ya ade so a omo san ebekunkum enipa.
Nani ewie kuku ye aka wie mo mi alo saneni mbi Mr. Clyde ye blofo eminji mbi like immigration sajini ya no name ni mebe green card alo abe wolo na ke ba atwuni mini gino ni efio ye hi ne ke ekale ekometo nkwen lottery ye ni mekejo gan alo akejo man Africa manjina ke ba brochie a maintain lottery ye koni meni mehuni yo bi ni taflache amena ko wolu e ba kwe benye fenyele Obama e push koni a pass koni men me yo bia na me be wolu amena e wo ye na kan gbe jiano to e support akeshi a focus ni men me be wolu ya America amena me wolu agbene lottery e hu a continue na fe koni men ni me hu nta opportunity na me ke ba bi ame ba ni amehia me wolu e wo noji saneni imbile ye be kuku fio na emi ewo keji biane no ni oba fita wo ya lo o kwa wo ya ACR TV ni ji Keymama show be Mr. Clyde Williams ni wokele yo shiane bole eta ne ya for Congress be wo fe wole Charlie Rangels eta no fe afiabo numwo egbo be ehye sane ya efia ke so many decades neta no bia na be hye ni me pi compete Mr. Clyde ye hye ane nkenya nwe ye gami akeke be hye no shiki enfon pete wo se pen e wo no ha wo kele ba hye ane mene kodi wonka wonta agbeko wole ake obaba Mr. Clyde obake Mr. Clyde wo wabo ni oba e wo won energy no ni wotawo. What I said in the Ghana language is that you were
I picked up the Charlie Rangel piece, and he's been there a long time. I heard that part.
Right.
Right, that part I got. In any language, I get that.
Right, any language you get that. Okay, he has been there for a long, right. And how many people are competing for this position?
There are going to be 8 people running for this congressional seat. And you're right, Charlie Rangel has been there almost half a century. But I give him credit that he and Adam Clayton Powell before him, they made this congressional seat important and they made it relevant. And so I respect what they have done with this seat. But I think it's important that whoever holds this congressional seat, what Charlie Rangel and Adam Clayton Powell represented when they were elected was the best and the brightest that we had to offer. And that's what we need in this congressional seat. Not people going to tell you, well, I created a parade on your behalf. Not people who are going to tell you they've done things that really have not had a real impact on our community, and definitely not a real impact on the Caribbean community or the African community. We need to hold people accountable, and we need to ask them to do real things that will really improve our lives. That should be the measuring stick that we use for whoever holds this congressional seat.
I'm say o de encrane tools no o bo Charlie Rangel the name say no nim say onim de oka see o papa no emom wa betena so achede a chepa o ka one Adam Clayton Powell ma we hu say sa akonwan esombo ma omo nti o si wi ase de nipa ya de a osayeye nti oguso a you know o ye but ono so kire say wa obeba be fa akonwan bia mema meka emme totu anum enje say me kra na me the African parade by and I say me the Caribbean parade by eno de enya sunsanso bia wo nipa ne so ade a o say wo ye ne say ade a wo be ye as a congressman e be bo you know omamu ni nyina ne community no eno hu ne hia nti eno ne ade a odi tu dwa no.
Before we get here, I told few people to give me some questions to ask you.
Okay.
So they said, oh, that's wonderful. I said, don't worry. I will definitely ask that question for, they talk about education.
Yes.
And some of these immigrant children that comes here, they face challenges. And it looks or it felt like they're always failing. It's not that then now they started to brand them as special ed.
Right.
And in that area, what can you do differently to help these immigrant children that their parents bring them in?
Well, it's difficult, I think, when you go anywhere and you have to adapt to a new culture and a new language. And I think there needs to be a sensitivity to that. Part of what public schools' responsibility is to educate everyone who comes through that door, no matter where they start. And so I think one of the things I would advocate for, to be quite honest, is to do something to make certain we start educating our children earlier than we do now. I commend Mayor de Blasio for doing his pre-K program, but I think we need to start getting kids in programs at 2.5, 3 years old, 4 years old. One of the things we found out is, and research has shown this over and over again, that children who are usually minority or kids who are poor, they speak on average much fewer words than people who are more fluent or who start school much earlier. Their learning is very different and they're always much further behind. And so if we really want to do better by our children, we need to start educating them earlier. I don't think anybody should be penalized for being poor or being an immigrant in this country and not get a quality education. And that's what we need to work towards, and that's what we need to have as an achievement for our community.
Mubusane fa ngumasuyan so ho ana no o ka se omo a yedi omo free obusa o ka se bi omo a yedi omo free ye kuro mu ba ha no sometimes omo ko school a omo ntimi nsuya de ebu omo se tipo nkoso because even kasa no kra ya na e de ma omo ana o si o an no kra na obo major de Blasio abaso se ni pre-K e fa enkora tete ho no de ba e no ya de pa bo no so ba de be ni se be hyem kimna na de asan hu ne hwehwemu am ye hu ne se bi omo maame no mu obi no omo nsam obi no etimi kasa dodo sen omo a ahiafo mai enti eno so ya de a eda na koma so a ono ne se oba obesesa desua no mu se obi a se ofri hin a wo ko school ni de ye nyina atama ne ye nyina ye pe nti obe ebo modern se ye nyina ebe fa sa kwankro na so ne de akoye nim se de adesua no ebe bie mu ama obi a so yo hia ni ba o so yo sika ni ba o mu nyina no mbesua de pepepe.
I have a quick commercial. If you want to ship your stuff, this is a commercial break. If you want to ship your stuff to anywhere in the world, Aromax shipping, it's your best place to go. Sometimes you boxing things at home. You wonder, oh, who's gonna ship my stuff? Is it gonna be there on time? Is it gonna be there intact? Trust me, Aromac is the best place to ship. If you want to contact this business, 973-690-5363. 973-690-5363. Wakanegbe na be noni e kewo ya education yes and ni mbile e ke Major de Blasio ke ojen gbeke bi ashishi ye abi farming bibio ehi e woni bi de Blasio bane e ke pre-K e wo mo fiamo no ye bi ka segbeye bo moden no ko bila ya ochu ni ndio ya no a register obile pre-K e ja ke ko je amashishi ya bifao mi e ha ni amedwemo mi gbelio na me kase o nimla nimbila akeshi ale no me ni me aka mejo man se ni jitomo Africa Caribbean na ka me ba ya ni kase mo glase fio neke bo fia boni ji e egbeji anoto ni e ba fe ni naka ni biye aye obon. Okay, now we all look at around our community.
Mm-hmm.
I remember years ago they have after school program. Now, if you want your child to go after school, you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same, low income community we live in, the same salary we earn and no increment. What will you do differently? Are you going to bring it back or is it going to remain the same?
I believe we should have universal after-school programs for children all across the city and across the country. We know for a fact that most kids get in trouble right after they get out of school in the afternoon. I think we should provide that service to people regardless. I think we should use it as an opportunity to help children with their homework, but also to provide them with STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, and math programs. I think that's extremely important because that will prepare our children, not for the jobs just of today, but also for the jobs of tomorrow. And if we are serious about education, those are the kind of things that I would do differently than anybody else who I know is talking about running for this congressional seat. And they've had the opportunity to do something groundbreaking. Combined, these guys have been in office for more than 80 years, people who are running for this congressional seat. You have two people who are assembly members, two people who are state senators, and one who used to be an assembly member. They've had more than enough time to do something. And I say enough is enough. It's time for us to turn the page on the politics of old and do something different and get people who have real ideas who want to do something for our community. And not just a select few, but for all in our community.
Mem se obusane se bi obi a ye ko school a nkra no mo pon a kane no em se ye de eja ye de nansen na wo ye ba mo de matena krom ha chenti munim de yekoso nyina nti obusane se kane no se nkra ni pon school a ye sam mo ka school mu ho esua de di agro ne ye sesi anso de ukọ ya ji so okotu eska na obusan se de na obetimi aya fa ho no so eye asempa na wo kan ne no kre sesi ano nkra ne bebre wo ho a omupon school a entokwa ne nsam eba nyina afri sane ma no enti sesi ano de ono so be ne se onyi ni kra se ye community yanko o se ye New York nyina ne omamu America ne nyina ye nya ade ba ko a sua pon ba ko a ye nyina ye betimi afa so ena afen so omupon a sa de sua ne so se bi onye se wo ye homework a teacher de ama wonko a abodimu nyansasua sa niema ne nyina no ema oman ne koso enti eno ne ade a o kan se bi nya de emfa ho ne wa wo ba nipa ne bebre abetena so abe kansem bebre omu nyina omu antimi anye enti nya afe ne ye ba na obebo brobro nsem so ono de o si wo ba obeye adwuma no wahu bi pen ena opeso ye na omamu ne nyina hu sampa de o kan no obeye ampa.
We all know Charlie Rangels have been in power for so long.
Right?
What are some of the things that you would like to change? And what are you going to add on?
For me, it's really about using this congressional seat to do things that haven't been done in the past. As I said, I commend the congressman for his years of service, but I think there's a lot more that can be done. I look at the fact that for years there's been competitive block grant money from the federal government that we could apply for retention of teachers, retention of principals, for music programs. Nobody's ever applied for that money. There's money that's sitting at various government agencies that I think we could apply for, and it's competitive, but we at least need to be trying to get that money to do things better in our community. And that's one thing I would definitely do in a more robust way. The other thing I think that's great about being a congressional member, particularly for this congressional seat, it has history to it. Every major corporation in America is located in New York City. I've worked for Bill Clinton and I created public-private partnerships. I would do more of that. I think that corporate America has a responsibility to help people in America. And I would love to be the person to make certain we bring more of those assets and resources to our community. And I think that the corporations would be willing to work with me as a person that they see is different, fresh, new, and is willing to do what is necessary and do right by these corporations, but also by the people in our community to bring about the kind of real partnerships that are important to bringing real change to our community.
Ubusane say ja papa yi watena so ache Charlie Wrangler atena so ache pa nti ono ahwa ade pa na papa na ntimi anya ono beba beye ena afenso die biem na ode beka ho ena o si yo wate na de tie ne say papa ne de bi obo na ba so say watena so ache ba niam bebre wo ho a wantimi anye said the okay o si woni former president Clinton aye adwuma ena nwuma kase e wo America nyina no efa no omofuma e wo New York ha ena e wo sika bebre nso a na wo se wutimeje e de boa oman na ni nyina na da ho bia ntime nye nti ono je waba no gidigidi katakata ekwan bi obefa so a wo gi sa sika na beboa oman ne bia aye New York titiri no obefa so ama sika na beka yansa no dia yenwuma pa ama oman ni nyinara.
Now that we are rolling down to end of our program, because today is not going to be the first time for you coming to ACR TV and Keymama show.
I hope not.
Because it's going to be ongoing for you to keep us informed, the community, our viewers, everybody, what you are about to do. And I know definitely some of your opponents will also come to Keymama show and also explain to us or tell us what they also have in plan for the community. You know, ACR TV is open for all the community. Most politicians were earlier on, we spoke and you said you are not
No, I'm not.
You are not. I said, I'm confused. What is the difference? Why you are not?
It's a major difference. And to me, for a lot of people, they see politicians as individuals who don't get much done. My desire is not to go to Washington, D.C. and sit there for decades and do nothing. I truly believe in public service. I know for a fact what can happen if the right person is there serving your needs. I want to be that person. And as I said, I want to bring my community together. I think one of the greatest things about New York City, one of the greatest things about this congressional district is you have people from everywhere. That's what makes New York City unique. That's what makes our community unique. That's an added plus for us, and we need to see it that way. And I want to be the person, as I said, that represents the needs of everyone throughout the diaspora of Africa that's here, people throughout the Caribbean, people from Dominican Republic, from Puerto Rico, people who've been here for 40, 50, 60 years, even those whites who are new to our community, even the Jewish community that lives in Inwood. We all are in this together, and we need to realize that if we work in a real way together, we will improve everything for everyone in our community.
Mr. Ubusane said, ACR TV, any Keymama show there. A prono ye bia to hamu bia unyi bin free and only bin count and after so then crop for no mobesia can they are a bibeti in our radio so about Keymama mamma so me quine na me church and semu now busano no only needing holocast on the only politician and so a juma you come your politics for juma and was saying no credit your cast on your politician they say obetrimune Inti ninchire mu ane say politicians foi omo ba be kansem pepre be toto ya no de afi omo konya konwa ne pe de omo ka so mbe nyina no onye na afi so enam say New York nso eye bibia am say wiase afa na nyina upekura eye unique part say yet edam sonko in New York because timamufo no obi free baby Africa Caribbean ho nyina enti nyina ye kan hu bomu a oman no obechichiri ne na afen so no enam se waye adwuma oni mpanyimfo akese aye adwuma nti wonim de oka ena ono so eye na sede ne yamu a wo yi se de amanfo antimi anya ne bi ma betena so mfie de omse ne yenwo me kra wo ma betena so anema bebre wo ma antimi anya na emom ono de wa base obeye because wakom ahu de tuamu nyinara ena onim kwan obetimi afa so anya sika ama oman na ekonanim ena sabio Africa for ha Jew for ni nyina yesi mpanyimfo se prae we wi ba ko anebu oka bomu emu enti ye nyina obeka ye nyina ya bom se prae ba ko ne de akoyanim.
And to give you another example of what I think a lot of people think politicians are
You're
about.
understanding Chi now.
Yes, a little bit. Is that I get an example like Shelley Silver, who was one of the most powerful people ever in politics in New York State. He was just convicted of all counts. That's what people are starting to believe the political process is about. You look at right now that Scalos, who was the most powerful person in the state Senate, he's under federal indictment, and his trial is going to start soon. And Pri Barara made very clear, the U.S. attorney who's prosecuting them, there will be others that will come behind. That is not what I want to be. That is not what politics should be about. We should be better than that. We should be doing what's in the best interest of everyone, not the individuals who are more concerned about themselves. And unfortunately, that's what we've been seeing in New York State politics. New York State politics has been coined and been talked about as the most corrupt state political capital in America. And you're going to tell me there are people who've been a part of that process for decades who now think they haven't done their jobs in Albany and they should be given a promotion to go to Washington, D.C.? I say no. We should demand better than that of the people that we want to serve us.
Adia ba ko san kan say am so bo ba bi din say Shelley Silver say hwan ya say New York ha de na o kan amanyo semu a na odi mu akotene pa na o san busa no say sankofo nyina bedi akonwa no mo kwa ebe wi akire no na niema afore om ho niema basa na eja sesi ayeka se ye de obi kura kogina court kura kodi na asem enya no bi no ba so obeye sabio yeso kono obi abodwe si ehia no wasensu asi odi ho sesi a wahu de ekonyina nti ono wa massa politics na obeye ne sabio obeye nya ne ho obeye oyese Yesu Kristo oba so obeje ye nyina ye nkwa nti ono oba no Obama hiafo wabama sikafo wabama woni bi wabama obia wa massa oba abenya guni botom na afede okwa no ohwe na ti sa de New York police ana say attorney general na say hwan no prosecutor say be chimiana ono wa manesa oba so oba beboa ye nyinara
anokwale no ne eyi obon ewia ke imbila ke shi eke small politics think about a political platform they can anokwale shile je na kan eba ne ba atuni eba kone beba wa meni me ehia me eya ne ata White House ne ba we suit ne ba atashi ne ba mo keke wa do TV here eke e wavy work keke atashi da bi eba ne ba fold a sleeve ne ke wo walk to walk but ne tashi ne be onale simple ka Mr. Clyde le no ne gbomoneke ni afon ko shiki ahankole miaka an kwale sane be pi e ka afon aha meneke ka me hi pa wono shi menele ke he fon shi ingbe shi ayo haleme yo ebe any like upscale houses eko Harlem ko te shi apartment o atwachi na ejeme ewo gbomoneke ni eke mfon afole hawo mini ekon jino ni wo pata o ewo ke ba na eke wa ba tuni ewo keji obo wotoe be Mr. Clyde Williams na ke gbile she gbe me 8 ni domoshi mo fia mo ke noni eke ba shile hu eno na eke ba na eke ha wo Africa biye ake shi na miye nke he shafole ni nke hanye ke hani wonye ni wogboy ni wo yo New York wonye wodomo wonani no ka wie won ba wie ko ke office ba na space ha moko ne te mase ni eja Africa ni le hu efe no ko be no yo bie wo kenye mbotue be ne ke message ne ba ne ke ba hanye fe ye bie she before ni wo ba cha no ma wie e blow for me be Aromac Shipping is the #1 shipping place you don't want to miss. Please contact him 973-690-5368. 973-690-5363. Aromac Shipping, the best shipping place you can find in the world is Aromac, one of them. I saved this towards the end because most of the time, once you give the intro or the background of the guest, they say, oh, I know everything that's said. So I saved this for the last.
Okay.
So I'm going to read it. It's about yourself. Although I gave you an opportunity to tell us about yourself, but you give us like a little bit here and there. So if I'm lying, just tell me.
I'll give you some more.
Oh, then you tap me. So right here, Mr. Clyde, more than 20 years career in the public service, include work for President Clinton and Obama, the development of successful public-private sector partnership in Harlem and nationally, right?
Yes.
And knowledge of federal programs that affect urban communities.
Yes.
So you're already doing the job.
I've done the job, but I think the thing that's even more interesting, I think, for people than just what that says, the things I've done on paper, I think, are great, and I'm proud of them. But any success I've had in my life is because of my mother. The greatest thing that made me who I am today was my mom, who died about a little over 10 years ago. My father died when I was 3 years old, so I have no recollection of my dad. But my mother always told me I could do anything, I could be anything. She gave me a drive and a determination to do better in life. I grew up in a community in Southeast Washington called Anacostia. It was not the greatest of communities. You know, I didn't grow up dirt poor, but I know what struggle's like because I've struggled in my own life. I know what it's like to live in a one-bedroom apartment with 10 people because my mother and I did that with my aunt. I know what it's like to go to schools that don't prepare you well to go to the kind of high school I went to. My mother paid a woman's electric bill in probably one of the whitest parts of Washington, D.C. to put me in the best public high school she could. I worked the entire time I was in college. I went to Howard University. And I know what it's like to have to get up after you've been working all night and then go to class. I tell the story about how I went to see one of my friends about 2 years ago, who's a very prominent lawyer in D.C. And I used to clean, when I walked in that building, I used to clean that building where his office is located. I know what it's like to walk in a room and be invisible because when I cleaned that building, no one saw me. So all those things I've done is true. I'm proud of the fact I worked for President Clinton. I'm very proud of the fact I worked for President Obama. But I think the thing that makes me human, that makes me understand, that makes me have empathy and sympathy for people are the same challenges that I've had in my life that a lot of people have in their lives every single day. And the reason why I want to do this job is because I want to give them the same kind of opportunities that people gave me to have a better life.
I'm say all can say yeah ube programmer sometimes all can depend on bakwasim nyina kama all can be also ya tiabre into where they all said that the to what say ye be pon now they are tuja it will shall say all can niama or ne wayama President Clinton pensione President Obama was se CIA niama waya no so o betwa wa no ya we nyina no we dey we be say we enkrata so asem na all can na oka pa nipa wa hye nim kran pa dia eye ne maame nyame hira man so se ne maame aboa no pa because ne maame ka che ne say bibia ni wiase a ontimi nye ye hia ne say obenya opɛ no wakɔ Harvard University a obia nim say o ka university wiase na adi mu akotene no so ka ho ɛna no osan kyerɛ say even kra no baabi a no mote no so nya say bia community na no mo teneja omu eye sika for ma shada so do na ehia wo mo e na omo so ana omu ni sika ono so wadada kromu da piemu a oni nipa be du eno so adapan na busuafo a no se wotwu na mu anadwu so ohwiegu no ono so wafamu da ena na nsen so se na ukọ Washington na nadamfo bi ye lawyer kese pa oni ne co school na osi oduru ha obo nani ano sometimes na asa anisuo kra tata no ba bia papa no office wo no sa dan mu ho no watwi ho pen wa hofuru ho nyina agiska gu ni botom pen na so se a ogina ho yi okọ bi hu se ono na ye sa adwuma no enti ohun ne ho se niama wafamu nyina no eno na ye community nipa ne bebre komu ahiafo ne asikafo nyina ekomu no enti ono hu ne ho se eba na oba no ama se obetena ho dia dodode ka dodode am senka woni omampanyimfo America omampanyimfo anante ehu die tuamu ba opese oba na ode mmoa beboa community no because sabio unse ufa tibia bi mu na nyame ye wadem na du besi bebi a utumi se omo di wachi ne so saa tibia no mu ana omo kom nti ono aba se oba be yi afri saa tibia no nti eno ane ne nante se.
Listeners and viewers of ACR TV Keymama Show, my contribution to this segment is that most of us, if I say most of us, immigrants, I'm an immigrant. We come here, we come all the way. Our goal is to work, put some money together, go home, build a big house. Sometimes we don't even get to the house, we drop dead. We are here. So most of us, like few people that I have spoke to, we said, hey, life is here. Let's get involved. Let's, do what we can here. If years comes by and we still have the strength and energy and we get back home, then we continue there. But whilst we are here, we're going to do. Why am I saying that? Most of the time, we don't get out to vote. We have the vote. Most of us are citizens, but we don't utilize it. We don't use our vote to count in the community. We just sit back and we say, after all, Mr. Clyde don't know me. I have said that many times. Mr. Clyde don't know me. When we put Mr. Clyde in power, what is he going to do for me? But I realize that it really matters. My votes really count. It have a strong voice because if you vote, like you listen to Mr. Clyde Williams now, things that he said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yes, sometimes, we're all human. We might not do 100%. That's the truth. But the most important ones need to be done. If you vote, you can walk to his office and say, I voted for you. You promised this. You promised that. What happened? You know what? Now we are in a world global village. I open social media, it moves so fast. He might not be there for the next 10 years because, hey, you promised this, you didn't deliver. I don't think we should put you the second term. Yeah. So we have the power. So I'm encouraging our community people that next year or whenever there is time to vote, please step out and vote. Let your votes count. I don't really care who you vote for, but let your votes count. So please, yes.
Not Keymama, so at the futu nema imom timem for the titru yes I my gun and idia make a such a mamma and a miniano momoa. Nadia Tiana say, Sabio yetiha. As you bet you bit me tamsika tutri dieno a coffee I could sit down for Ebia Sabio dino crano, won't mean them no wuko. Nemo yabetina cromim a dear, ye free her. Ye never find young crata, as you free her. And to say, Droom, maybe say a cotuaba.